Named Chief of Police in 2004, Chief Davis made his support for victims of domestic violence a priority, and under his leadership, the San Jose established the Family Violence Center. Chief Davis.
Yes, thank you very much for being here today. The statistic has already been given to you that we have approximately 5,000 cases referred to the District Attorney's Office every year for domestic violence in this area. Unfortunately, we know that last year, 3 of those cases involved homicides. But I'm here to tell you that if we did not have the partnerships with these nonprofits and community organizations that we have, those numbers would have been much higher. If you take a look at what's happening around the country and compare our statistics, what you clearly learn is that we know what we're doing in this valley. We know how to take care of these domestic violence issues in terms of how it is we address them. You cannot arrest your way out of domestic violence. We've learned that. Law enforcement cannot go back. We can't turn the clock back on how it is that we approach this. We've had this Family Violence Center, the San Jose Police Department, where if you go to our offices, you go into the detective unit, if you will, for family violence, domestic violence in our city, and you find these community partners seated at the table, working the same hours right next to our detectives. We can't go back. Put another way, we know how to treat the problem of domestic violence. Suggesting that we're going to cut this budget and have these people removed from this process is like suggesting that you're going to cut the budget for penicillin for people who have infections. We can't do that. We cannot go back, and we cannot do this work. We cannot reduce domestic violence cases. We cannot prevent homicides if we don't have this cooperation and collaboration with our partners. This cut is a public safety cut. We're talking about domestic violence. We're not talking about property crimes. We're talking about violence. Just last night at a National Night Out event, a woman approached me. She had her 2 daughters who were teenagers and her 2 sons standing next to her. She asked me if she could speak to me for a moment. I said, absolutely, that's what these are for. And then I could tell that the tears started to well up in her eyes as she asked me this question. Does domestic violence always have to be just physical, or can it also be verbal? And she was almost starting to cry, and I tried to get her away from some other people so she'd feel a little more comfortable. And then she started describing to me how her husband was also berating her daughters and how he was treating her daughters. It was a cry for help. What did we do? We said, here's how you get in contact with us. We can put you in contact with our domestic violence unit, our family violence unit, and we're going to get you in contact with some of the folks from Next Door Solutions that work with us. We can't continue to have the impact in our community to drive down this type of crime if we don't have that collaboration. This cut is a public safety cut for violent crimes. There's no other way to look at it.